Welcome to Mastery Fractional CFO's Punchy podcast, short, impactful podcasts where I speak with business leaders from all walks of life about business. I'm your host. I'm the founder and CEO of Mastery Fractional CFO Services. I'm Ryan Chenier. And today I've got with me two guests, Laura Bastable and Patrick Daniels, both from Payworks Payroll Services Canada. Laura is an account executive at Payworks and Patrick is a sales manager at Payworks. Laura and Patrick, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ryan. Thanks for having us.
My pleasure. Why don't we start by Laura? I'll give you a turn and then Patrick will give you a turn. Tell us about who you are and what you do at Payworks and how you came to be at Payworks. Laura, you go first.
Sure. So I'm an account executive at Payworks. I help clients get their businesses signed up and walk them through the processes of how to onboard with Payworks. I've been with Payworks for almost 4 years. I'm based right here in Winnipeg, and I have been working for Patrick for those full 4 years.
Okay. And I'm Patrick Daniels, the sales manager at Payworks for Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and I've been with Payworks for almost 10 years now, and have got to experience a few of the head offices, and I get to enjoy the new one that we're in right now at the South Perimeter. And I got into Payworks in kind of a roundabout way when I graduated from University of Manitoba with an economics degree. I was unsure which direction I wanted to go in, and I actually got introduced to Bill Lavin, who's kind of an icon in the accounting community, and his experience with ComCheck. So I had the fortunate opportunity to work with him for 5 years, and I have a family full of accountants, and it was a career path I was looking to pursue, but he had asked, why don't you get started in sales, learn that side of the company, see if you enjoy it, and then you can look at your designation from there. And it turns out I love it. I've been doing it ever since. And when the opportunity came up at Payworks about 10 years ago, I took the jump.
Now, Payworks is an interesting company. I think you mentioned they're here in Winnipeg, but they service clients across Canada. Can you tell us, Patrick and or Laura, a little bit about Payworks in general from the 40,000-foot view so our viewers really know what the company is, who it services, the geographical territory, and what its main value proposition is all about?
Absolutely. So we are located coast to coast, as you'd mentioned, our head office being here in Winnipeg, but 100% Canadian owned and operated, multiple office locations across Canada, and the 40,000 plus clients that you had mentioned. In terms of scope at Payworks, they range from one employee to thousands of employees with staff in multiple provinces, sometimes unions with unique CBA requirements. So all that to say, we have a pretty scalable solution that's very robust for small to medium-sized businesses. And is there anything else you want to add?
I think just basically that we help businesses of all sizes. So if you are a Canadian business and you're looking to outsource your payroll, we're an option for you.
Do you have a maximum customer size?
We do not.
Okay. So you're really out there for almost anybody who wants support with respect to payroll processing. As a fractional CFO, my clients are often trying to manage their payroll in a variety of different ways. Sometimes they're trying to do it on their own. Their bookkeeper might be trying to manage payroll each pay period. They're trying to get advice from their accountant or they're trying to figure out online what to do with the CRA in terms of trying to file their EI and their CPP and to deal with T4s and pay stubs. And it's just, there's a lot there to know. And as some of our clients are larger and they have payroll in different provinces, so they might be located in one province, but they've got employees in different provinces. And managing that, there's an extra layer of complexity there. So with third-party payroll providers like Payworks, what you're doing is you're really simplifying the process. Your company will make that simple for them. They don't have to understand all the laws. They don't have to understand all the processing requirements. Effectively, you walk them through it. Is that correct?
That's accurate. And I think the types of conversations that we're having every day is that when you're a business owner, you're wearing a lot of different hats and trying to stay on top of payroll, all the legislation changes that you'd mentioned, compliance with provincial legislation of labor, it can be difficult to manage, being able to pay employees accurately and on time. And I think that to say the number one reason why businesses are looking at Payworks, aside from just full scope workforce management solutions, is peace of mind that they know their payroll is compliant, they know their employees are being paid accurately and on time, and a company that they can have confidence in, but then also being able to connect with a local service representative. So typically, if that owner that's running their payroll, they have a question and it has to do with paying one of their team members, usually it's urgent and we want to connect them with a real human being as quickly as possible. And in terms of scope of services at Payworks, our dedicated service philosophy is an area that has really separated us in Canada as well.
We've dealt with a variety of different third-party payroll providers. Payworks is one of them. I've chosen Payworks as my third-party payroll provider. So my staff, when I do payroll, is through Payworks. One thing I love about it, and the reason why I'm with Payworks, is because whenever I go to do payroll, or I have somebody on my team do payroll, there's always questions. And some of these questions suck up time and energy, but I find it interesting that I can call Payworks, or anybody on my team with the right authorization can call Payworks, and you can speak with somebody right there, like a real person, and they actually answer your questions and walk you through things. Like they'll walk you right through the website. It makes it stress-free, and it makes it efficient, which for me is incredibly important. I'm trying to run a business, and for my clients, that's incredibly important. And I see a lot of my clients, when they're trying to do their own payroll, it is very inefficient. And the cost effectiveness of the third-party payroll provider, Payworks, a lot of other payroll providers are cost effective too, but Payworks is very, I would say the return on investment is extreme. What's your experience, either of you, if you got a story or maybe just an experience in general that you can summarize in terms of a clients that you have now that was maybe difficult to bring on board, but once you brought them on board, they were like, oh man, I should have done this a long time ago.
I think we hear that quite a bit from our clients. We'll speak to them later on down the road after they've already been onboarded and running their payroll, and then they want to revisit some of the additional modules that Payworks offers. We'll speak to them and they let us know about how seamless the implementation process is and how lovely their customer service representative is. And when they call, even if they can't speak to their customer service representative, they can call through to the call center and speak to someone within 40 seconds. I believe it's under that amount of time to speak to a live person. So usually when people are thinking about if they're manually running their payroll and they're thinking of coming on with a company, they're picturing it being a big daunting process, and they realize how seamless it can be, how we'll walk you through step by step, and you're never left alone. You always have someone there you can ask questions.
Yeah. And sorry, go ahead, Ryan.
Well, I was going to ask you, Patrick, in terms of Payworks being one of the third-party payroll providers out there, how would you say Payworks is different? Why would somebody want to come to Payworks and not one of the other providers out there, from your point of view?
Yeah, it's a great question, and there are a lot of great payroll and workforce management options out there. Our dedicated service philosophy, being 100% Canadian owned and operated, and having all of your data reside in Canada, is a topic that's top of mind for everybody right now. And one other one that really stands out is just having scalable solutions. So oftentimes, if you onboard to, say, a competitor and you're going into business with the idea of growing and you scale, but now that product that you've onboarded with can accommodate the unique requirements that you need, you have to onboard to a different product. There's a different fee schedule that can come with us. So all 40,000 plus of our clients, regardless of size, are using that same product, which means that if you're a small to medium sized business, for all of the solutions that are available to you, an enterprise product, it doesn't come with an enterprise price tag. And just our product being able to grow with those businesses is one of the primary reasons that I look to choose Payworks.
Okay. Laura, question for you. Is there any advice you provide to a small or medium-sized business owner when it comes to Payworks?
Yeah, I think one of the misconceptions is that a business is too small to onboard with Payworks, that they don't necessarily need a payroll provider. As we've mentioned, we service customers big and small from one to thousands of employees. And actually, a majority of our client base reside in the 1 to 50 space. So when clients onboard with us, they realize how much time is freed up so that they can work on their other business needs and know that their payroll is handled correctly.
Good. All right, Patrick, I want to get your point of view on this, and then I'll ask Laura hers. What's it like to work at Payworks in terms of being a company to work for?
Yeah, that's a question I'm happy to answer. And in the 10 years being at Payworks, the novelty still hasn't worn off. It's a fantastic culture that starts from our leadership team all the way down. And one of the things that really drew me to Payworks was their involvement in the community. And as a student out of school and looking to start my career, that was really top of mind for me, and it resonated. And we have what's called a pay it forward program. So it's 2 days in the year. And it's actually a KPI that our HR department uses where they want as many staff involved as possible using those pay it forward days. So it just allows us to be out in the community, working on some projects we're passionate about. And I'd also say, too, just in terms of the Payworks office and culture, one thing I think we both notice is everyone's always willing to help. We're friendly and we genuinely care about the clients that we work with and are fortunate to work with. So a lot of collaboration at the office. And even though we're growing and we're growing quick, doesn't really feel like it. We just have a really tight culture and a fantastic leadership group here.
Okay, Laura, what would you add to that, or what would you say is different?
I would just say that I completely agree. For me, starting at Payworks, I really didn't know what to expect. I didn't come from a payroll background. I had a friend that worked here and she recommended the position for me. And when I came on board, I will say it's been one of the best decisions I've ever made. It's such a great company starting, like Patrick said, from the top down. Everybody's so friendly. My team is amazing. We have such a great time together. We look forward to coming into the office and seeing each other. And we just genuinely all help each other out. And I think that trickles down, and that's why our clients would agree. They have great experiences with their customer service representatives when they call in. It's genuinely such a lovely place to work. So they keep their employees happy.
Yeah, no, that's very, very well said. Patrick, in your experience, what have you learned about business that you'd say a lot of business owners maybe miss, or that potentially that they might want to know that could help them? Something, an insight that you've gleaned that could be helpful or useful.
Yeah, it's a good question. And I think a common theme that often comes up in the businesses that we're connecting with is there's just so many tasks, there's only so much time in a day, and that technology really can help their business regardless of the size of their business. And kind of the story I like to share, and when I'd started in the payroll industry 15 years ago, a lot of businesses assumed that they were too small to outsource their payroll. They were okay writing checks and that worked well for them. And fast forward 15 years later, nobody's really writing checks anymore. Direct deposit is the norm, and being able to use payroll tools. And that conversation from payroll is now happening with manual tracking of paper timesheets, manual time off requests, and trying to keep track in an Excel spreadsheet in your calendars, paper records with HR. So based on all the conversations we'd have, and my advice for a lot of those small businesses is you're not too small for those solutions, and it's at a cost that's probably quite a bit less than you might be anticipating, and worth the conversation around anyways.
Let's talk for a second about a larger business. Imagine a business that's got a couple hundred employees. They're not like a giant business yet, but they're in a position where they've got some sort of solution in place. Do you ever field those kinds of prospects in your business, or is that somebody else who does that?
We do, and we have a few verticals at Payworks, and so Laura is on our mid-market team and primarily working with businesses between 1 to 100 employees, and myself, I'm working more with the enterprise clients in Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and those are very common conversations that we're having. When it comes to the products that they're using in the corporate space, integration is a big word that comes up, and it's a term that's used pretty loosely in our industry. So we do have a system that allows for APIs. We can work with different HR products, point of sale products for time tracking. So the scalable solution is definitely still a fit at the enterprise level. It just doesn't carry an enterprise price tag. Payworks were typically about 15 to 30% less than our competitors in that space.
So that's significant. What do you think is preventing people from speaking to you about transferring that kind of business over to Payworks? If there's a potential savings there, is it that they're not aware of it, or that they think there's going to be too much transition or implementation pain, or what do you think the reason is that not everybody in the world with Payworks? I mean,
Well,
it would be unrealistic.
a big question. And actually, I would say we actually are having a lot of those conversations. A lot of those businesses are reaching out to Payworks because there's a lot of common themes when it comes to the service and support that they're receiving. Often long wait times, speaking with different representatives and repeating their problems. But I mean, in terms of why we don't have full market share, a lot of times businesses will find or might feel like it's more daunting than it actually is. And I guess one thing I'd like to share from a Payworks standpoint is if it is a larger business looking to move over to Payworks, we assign you with a PM. We have a dedicated implementation representative and team to help quarterback that entire project, moving your data over from one system to another, bringing over your year-to-date balances, your insurable earnings history so that we can pick up right where you left off. And but Brian, those are conversations we're having all the time with companies of all sizes.
Laura, on your end, with the smaller companies, if they have a solution in place and they're happy with it, so be it. It's not a priority. But often that's when we're taking on a new client. That's one of the issues is that they don't have a great payroll solution in place. There's not a lot of things I'll call a no-brainer, but when it comes to using a company like Payworks, that again I refer Payworks, I think it's a no-brainer. It costs very, very little. You save a massive amount of time. You get a whole lot of information and outside expertise that there's not a lot of other people who are well positioned to provide. Patrick, you alluded to it. The laws are changing all of the time. There's different provinces that can be involved. Laura, in your experience, when you're talking to small and medium-sized businesses up to 100 employees, what prevents them from wanting to make the switch?
There's a few factors. I think one of the common themes is that people think that they're too small. But another reason why would be maybe that they don't feel like they have enough time, which is part of the reason why they actually need a payroll provider to free up some of that time. I think once we have the conversations and I walk them through everything, they realize that it is a no-brainer. But in some of the circumstances where they haven't even reached out to us or they don't have someone like you referring Payworks to them, they don't know until they know. So I think that that's probably one of the main reasons why a lot of people don't even think about switching over to a payroll provider.
You know what? A couple of our clients, maybe their issue is that they don't think it's going to take more time once it's done. They think they can save time, but they're like, oh man, calling the company, going through the process, that's likely to take a lot of time. I think, Patrick, you said you'll assign a project manager to those large clients, but if it's less than 100 employees, what does the process look like? How long does it take? How painful is it, Laura?
We try to make it as painless as possible. So the whole process usually takes about 10 to 15 business days, depending on the time of year, to get accounts set up. But we really break it down and structure it so it's simple. The first steps would be I would speak with the client. We go over their business needs. They fill out a form letting me know all of their business information, and then I put together a service agreement for them. Once we have the signed service agreement, then what we do is we work on collecting their employee information. They get assigned a dedicated implementation specialist who will take over, reach out, walk them through all their next steps. They'll train the client on how to run payroll, make sure they're comfortable. And then once they're all set up, then they get moved over to their dedicated customer service representative. And from there, they just speak to their customer service representative as much as needed.
So you could get this all resolved, sounds like within almost one pay period, probably two.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to change gears a little bit here. I'm going to ask you each the same question, but I'm going to start with Patrick. Put a little bit of pressure on you, Patrick. It's not that hard, but what's one warning sign, call it a financial red flag, that you often see businesses have?
As much as we want to help every business, at the end of the day, in order for them to be in good standing and move to Payworks, we really want to have as accurate year-to-date information as possible. So we have clients transition at all time of year. If they're starting for the first pay in January, a little bit easier. There's no year-to-date balances to bring over, but we do sometimes get inquiries from clients where it's mid-year. They've been paying kind of by check or e-transfer or cash sometimes, and they're hoping us to kind of clean everything up and then get started that next pay period with Payworks. And often what we'll do in those cases is refer them to CRA resources, refer them to some of our partners, just to help make sure everything's in order, in good standing, so that we can kind of carry the ball from there.
Okay. Laura, would you say there's anything different in your experience that you've seen that you'd comment on?
That's usually the same thing for me as well. When clients are wanting to get onboarded and their books aren't clean, and we're trying to get them set up properly, we need to have everything up to date and ready to go. And that's some of the clients that I've referred to you before as well, just to help them get everything sorted.
Yeah. It is so common when we're dealing with clients, even clients that you'd never really know from the outside that they're having trouble on the financial side of things. But when we take on clients, in some cases, their books are clean, the bookkeeper's got things looked after, and they just want to get to that next level. And so they contact us. But so often, even if they're not aware of it, their books are not clean and there are problems there. And when we take over a client's business and we start to look at their financial planning and analysis and the management accounting, the opportunities for improvement, we find that the record keeping is just not where it needs to be. Often there's mistakes in the payroll side of things, and they're not aware of it, but we can help them sort through that. Yeah, it helps so much when the payroll side of things is becomes a non-issue. And so that's great. If somebody wants to reach out and contact Payworks and discuss what things might look like if they were to transition their payroll to Payworks, what do you recommend to them? What's the best way to reach out to you?
You can go to payworks.ca and submit a form through there to have someone reach out to you. You can call in and request for someone to reach out to you. Usually what happens is those requests come in and then they're sent off to myself or my colleagues, and we follow up with a call and then book a meeting from there.
All right. This is an easy question. Patrick, well, maybe it's not an easy question. You tell me. What's the most interesting app you have on your phone?
Oh, most interesting app. I would say the Skylight. And it's an app that when you open up, you can point at the sky. I like backyard astronomy. It's a hobby of mine. So if I'm trying to locate certain stars or planets, I can point it at the sky and it'll tell me exactly where it is at that time.
Cool. Laura, how about you? What's the most interesting app you have on your phone?
Well, I don't know if it's the most interesting. It's the most controversial one right now, in my house, anyways, is the Yuka app. So you scan the barcodes of products like household cleaning products and makeup, food, anything, and it tells you a score of essentially how bad it is for you. So I've been overhauling some of the products in our house.
Wow. I'll have to check that out. I haven't actually heard of that before. Okay.
It gets addictive.
Well, guys, yeah, it sounds like it would be. Yeah. All right. Well, we've reached the point in the show where I give my guests an opportunity to ask me, a fractional CFO, any question about business. It doesn't have to be financially related, but do you have a question for me, guys? Maybe a joint question, or if you have separate questions, that's okay too.
Yeah, so I do have a question for you, Ryan. And as a fractional CFO, I'd be curious to know some common themes that you encounter when you're working with a new client, whether it's an efficiency or FAQ that they have, or kind of what they're asking for help for. That would be great information for us.
Okay. Uh, the theme is generally that they're almost always what I would call smart people. They know a whole bunch about a whole host of things, and they're successful to the degree that they've got a business, they're running a business. Uh, Usually, by the time they're contacting us, it's more than just a solopreneurship. So it'll be a business with a variety of different people, including employees. But they get to that point where they've run out of time, and whatever was working for them to get them to where they are now, they need to do different things. And so they start to recognize that we need to hire people or connect with people that aren't necessarily employees, but that can bring to the organization experience and expertise that we don't already have to help us get to that next level. So, as a fractional CFO, my clients or my prospective clients are contacting me saying, "Hey, listen, all of these big businesses have CFOs. Like every big business has a CFO. They're doing some important stuff. We don't have that. We may have a bookkeeper, we have a year-end tax accountant, but we need somebody who's going to help us with the financial planning and analysis, the cash flow management, the taking our budget if we have one. If we don't, we have to build one. But taking our budget and operationalizing it, turning it into actionable steps, and understanding what's driving profit in our business, what's driving business value, all of these different things. And so that's part of what we come to the table and help them manage. And it folds in very well on the payroll side because most of the time that's another factor, right? Where there's a lot of time and effort can be spent on payroll. Whereas if they can systematize it or improve the processes or both, then they can make things better. And so what I've found since COVID, especially since COVID, is that there are more viable options with respect to building up a better business using subcontractors. Like I'm a subcontractor, and really Payworks is this big giant subcontractor. Being able to go to outside experts who bring to the table members, systems, processes, experience, expertise, and for a fraction of the price of a full-time person, you've got all of this that can contribute to your organization. The other alternative, the pre-COVID common alternative, is to go and hire somebody that you can afford. So if you can't afford a $300,000 a year CFO, you go and hire an $80,000 junior accountant, somebody who understands finances, but they don't have a lot of experience or a lot of expertise there. But you don't get the results. Fractional CFO is not going to be working for you on a full-time basis, but they don't need to. You're not buying their hours. You're buying what they can do for your company. You're buying the results. Can you improve cash flow? Can you reduce your stress? Can you be more profitable? Can you grow your business effectively and efficiently? That's what we do. And it's the same on the payroll side. And, frankly, there are other professionals that I recommend to a lot of my clients, and they are the right solution. So virtual CIO or Chief Information Officer, somebody who understands information technologies, the proper systems to put in place for a business that wants to grow, understanding not just where we are right now, but where we're going to be likely in 2 years, maybe in 5 years, building out a plan so that you can implement and build on a solid foundation, rather than trying to do something that works today only to find out next year you have to redo it because it's all changed. Having that experience, somebody who understands what the roadmap to success looks like with respect to information technology, with respect to payroll, with respect to finances, with respect to sales and marketing, operations, even CEOs or presidents of companies now are recognizing that, hey, I might be pretty good at what I do. Like I might be 1 out of 100, but there's other people out there, other people who are really good at what they do. Those people could help me with my business. Mastermind groups are much more common now. I'm in a fractional CFO mastermind group where we meet with people from all over the world who do what I do, and we talk about best practices and things we've learned and ways to help our clients. And man, it's game changing. And a lot of CEOs out there that I'm speaking with these days, it's different from a few years ago, but they're more open to saying, okay, well, what's your advice, Ryan? Like not just CFO to CEO, but CEO to CEO. What do you think that I'm missing here? Do I have any blind spots? What do you think my strengths are? Are there any weaknesses you want to talk to me about? What are my opportunities? What are my threats? Being able to bring in other people, other resources, third party perspective, will only make your business stronger. And even if it's not a fit, even if somebody was to reach out to Payworks and say, thanks for the information, guys, but I don't think this is a fit for whatever reason, I guarantee you're not going to be sorry that you went through the process. You'll pull something valuable out of that. If it's not the right process for you, you'll still pull something valuable out of that, and you'll make your business better. And I recommend that everybody be open that way. You can't process everything that's out there. You have to be careful what you spend your time on. But speaking with people who are professionals in their area, like Payworks is a professional in the payroll area, it can't hurt you, it can only help you. If you're in business, that's part of business, and speaking with the experts is a good move.
Yeah, that's well said, Ryan, and thank you for that. And I think you hit the nail on the head that at the end of the day, we're probably both just looking to determine fit. There's a lot of questions, especially when it comes on the payroll and the finance side, and a lot of areas that I know you can help, and you're helping with a lot of clients. So that was interesting and just well said. Thanks.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you. Good question. Okay, so let's see here. Have we covered everything? All right, so we're at the point now where I'd like to say, first of all, thank you guys for joining the podcast. It's been a pleasure having you on. I love the opportunity to put out there a little bit more about Payworks, because I think you guys are one of the best kept secrets out there. Unfortunately, people will become more and more aware of you, I'm sure, as time goes on. And not that you're small, but not enough people. More people need to know about you, so this is good. And to our viewers out there, anybody who's been listening or watching, by all means, if you've seen something here that you think might be valuable for somebody else, pass it along, forward the information along, and we'd love to expand our reach that way. If somebody's interested in showing up as a guest on the podcast, reach out to me. If somebody's got a podcast and they'd like to have Laura or Patrick or myself on the podcast, by all means, reach out to us. I expect that we'd all be open to that. I know I would. And that is everything I've got for today. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan.